All right. Well, we are live. We are late. We are live, and I am extremely late. But this is Cross Politic News Countdown. Cross Politic Countdown after Andrew Southwick, Justin Charcher with you, and you'll notice at least I'm decked out in Seahawks. So I'm in my green screen. I got an old ratty Seahawks shirt because it's vintage time. The vintage background. I know. If you had it, you would do it. So that's not a knock. I know it's there. But well, this is going to be a quick one today because one, we're late. I'm late. Justin's late. We're all late. But we will do as much as we can to bring you up to speed on what's coming up here. Justin, just overall thoughts. Seahawks are back in the Super Bowl, fourth time in team history. In fact, it perfectly bookends 20 years of Seahawks' relative dominance in the NFC West, going back to 2005, the first appearance, the tail end of the 2004 season. So, Justin, I mean, how you doing going into this? Are you nervous? I was confident last week. This week, I'm less confident. Not because anything changed, just because I think I'm neurotic like George Costanza.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks is too long to wait for anything. You start seeing ghosts in the corner, or feeling like things are coming back around, and so yeah, everything just sort of like tapers back toward the medium. I feel like after that first week, because riding high off of NFC Championship game against the Rams, who everybody thought was a favorite to be in and win the Super Bowl, and really, we were talking right 2 weeks ago. This is the de facto Super Bowl of the NFL this year, is the Rams Seahawks, and Seahawks came out on top. Sam Darnold played his butt off. Can I say that on the air? He rocked. He outplayed the MVP of the league. The defense did its job when it needed to the most, and we just got to enjoy an awesome game. And yeah, feeling like, hey, nobody's beating the Seahawks now. Definitely not New England Patriots under first-year quarterback Drake May, right? So, I mean, there's there's some of that. There's also, some of the just trepidation of being a Seattle sports fan. And again, we talk about it all the time, but it's, you do remember all the horrible moments. And we'll probably talk about it a little bit, but the last time the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl, it was this matchup, and it was 1 yard separating the Seahawks from a second consecutive championship, and we all know what happened.
Yeah, you could argue that particular play ended the Legion of Boom era, and it was just a slow death from there. Although in this particular matchup, the only people who are still around from that Super Bowl 49 to now, other than Paul Allen's trust, Jody Allen, but John Schneider and Robert Kraft. The teams are new, the coaching staffs are new, so you can say, I heard, who was it? Ricardo Lockett on Seattle Sports in the interview, and he was saying, yeah, this is revenge for me because they were all a part of that team, and he was right there in the end zone, got cut off, but. It's interesting because it probably is true that a lot of the the media's been asking that of these players, and they're all saying no, it's not revenge. These being the Seahawks players this year, and it probably isn't. They weren't here. They weren't around. They don't have that lingering disappointment that hangs over their head. So, and that may be to the Seahawks' advantage. A couple of quick stats here. So just. I realize regular season doesn't matter, but it's what we have to go on. If we look at the playoffs, the Patriots' offense did suffer. Drake May has not played well. He's also ran into and had to play through the best defenses in the league. Denver, Houston, now he's going to run into Seattle. And against those top defenses, he's not fantastic and hasn't been. So that could be a small advantage. And the way I look at it, you're going to see here in just a second, these teams are so even statistically. I would say maybe a little edge to Seattle, not because I'm a homer, but because they, I think, legitimately are a more complete team. I think they have, and they don't have Drake May, who is the second year, but really playing his first full season. So effectively a rookie season, even though he's not a rookie. you have Darnold, who has shown now 2 years in a row that he actually is a good quarterback and can silence those. But points per game, they're basically even. Seattle's 28.4, New England's 28.8. The points allowed, that's defense. Seattle's got about a 1.5 edge, 17.2 versus New England 18.8. Yards per game, again, this is regular season. Seattle 351.4 to New England 379.4. Passing yards, 239 for Seattle, 262 for New England. Rushing 123 Seattle, 128 New England. Turnover margin, Seattle 10-0 when committing one or fewer turnovers under Mike McDonald. And of course, Seattle has the better overall record even through the playoffs because their record was better in the regular season. You can line up quarterbacks statistically. Drake May is better than Sam Darnold. Drake May led the NFL in passer rating, 113.5. Passer rating, 31 TDs to 8 interceptions. Darnold, not so much. Drake May's passing yards, 43.94, so it's a little under 4,400 to Sam Darnold's 40.48. And then you have 25 TDs and 14 interceptions for Sam Darnold. So you would say, okay, well, maybe the edge goes to New England with quarterback and possibly. I think the weakness for Seattle in this particular game is depending on – I don't make much of the Nick Eamon-War thing. I know I'm jumping around, but we only have a couple of minutes here. But I think the weakness for Seattle is Drake May is good at getting out of the pocket, getting off schedule, running around, using his legs, and finding those late schoolyard plays that the Seahawks used to be so good at. We have shown a weakness in the middle of the field. We've shown a weakness against tight ends. Let's go, Pat, says Michael. Thanks for the comment. I can't agree with you, but I'm glad that you are excited for the game, and I do hope you are disappointed, but I mean that in the best possible way. But thanks for checking us out. The over the field, over the middle, particularly for the Seattle, we've had holes there. If for whatever reason Nick Eamon-War can't pivot the way he would like to, that could present a little bit of a problem. I think this is going to be more nice. Official Weirdo says, hi. All right. Let's see. Michael he says, all good guys, we have 6. I hear you flaunting your rings, Michael. Thank you for that. We have 1 and with 2 losses, so beat that. Anyway. But I think that's where the Seahawks are going to be vulnerable. I don't think this is going to be a 43-8 thing like Super Bowl 48. I think it'll be much closer to Super Bowl 49, where you've got 4, 5, 6 points separating. I agree, Michael. We should have 2 at least. And I would go back to Pittsburgh on that. But don't get me going on my beef against the refs and Super Bowl 40. My goodness. I think it's going to be a close mid-20s game. I don't know that it comes down to the last team that has the ball, but I think it's going to be that kind of game. All right, Justin, I've said enough. Take it away.
Yeah, I would say based on nothing but my heart, right? No, I mean, there's a little bit of statistic here. You look at what Drake May's done in the playoffs against some really outstanding pass rushes in Houston and Denver, and he has been just absolutely under duress. And they were talking about his completion percentage and his ability to escape the pocket when he's being rushed, and it's abysmal. He was getting hit at an alarming rate, and I mean, the shoulder issues kind of lingered into the first week of the Super Bowl preparation. It sounds like he's good to go, but I mean, how many shots is he going to take before that shoulder starts coming back on him a little bit? You look at what I think is New England's biggest weakness in this game is their offensive line against a Seattle pass rush that is very aggressive with just the front four. They don't blitz. They don't bring a lot of extra pressure, but those guys up front, Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy and, Lawrence and, those guys are getting after the quarterback right away. And there's not a lot of opportunity there. You look at some of the skill positions. New England has a pretty good running game. I'll take Kenneth Walker all day. New England has Stephon Diggs. Okay. We got the offensive player of the year in Jackson Smith and Jigba on one side, and Rashid Shaheed doing his thing. We've got, the tight end depth there. I feel like this really sets up well for the Seahawks. And I'm going to say, I don't think this is going to be a close game. I really think this is going to be a blowout because I just don't think the Patriots have the horses to get through the defense. And so I'm going to call it right now. Seahawks are pitching a shutout this weekend.
Wow.
It is going to be
okay.
20, 30-point win, and New England's not getting on the board.
Wow. Yeah, Michael, I hear you. He says if he wasn't a lifelong Pats fan, he'd be betting Seattle with both hands. He also agrees with my sentiment. Wow, pitching a shutout. That's it
doesn't happen. It does not happen.
It doesn't happen. That would be, I mean, you're thinking Super Bowl 48 type of thing, really, with this one. I just think that New England has enough dynamic on their offense that they're going to be able to exploit some of our weaknesses, particularly in the middle of the field, and be able to move the ball a little bit. However, I will say this. You might have a closer – it might be closer to your projection if it's a long field for each team. I think if the Pats have good field position and are working on short fields, then I think we're looking at that 27-21 type game, 24-20, something like that. If we're working on long fields back and forth, I think that benefits the Seahawks tremendously. Then I think you could see the Seahawks up to, 2.5 scores, something like that. But I just can't count out the Pats, man. I mean, they're clearly they're well coached. They have gone through the best of the AFC, just as the Seahawks have gone through the best of the NFC. And I think both have small weaknesses that can be exploited, and it really will depend on who can take advantage of those and not do the big screw up deep in their own red zone.
I would say so. My pushback to that is that yes, he did face the best of the AFC. He faced the Houston defense, which is statistically the best defense in the league, and he faced Denver, top 5 in the league. However, Denver was playing with a backup's backup at quarterback, and New England barely squeaked that game out. Houston, I mean, I don't know what happened to C.J. Stroud this year, but that guy was a turnover machine. And 4 picks in the first half against the Patriots spelled, a huge, an early lead for New England. That game was still in reach in the second half. I don't know how that's possible.
It's been 2 years. I mean, talking about Stroud, it's been 2 years since he's been good. What happened to Houston's offense? But the Denver, if they don't go for it on that fourth down to kick a field goal, we might be looking at Denver here in this game.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree. Yeah, they went through the heart of the AFC, but there is no team as battle-tested in this league as the Seattle Seahawks, who had to play the 49ers and the Rams 3 times in a division with 3 12-game winners, at least. I mean, that's your edge right there, is the Seahawks have been tested, and they have come through, with sterling colors here. I think there's just there's a lot of momentum there, and I just and again, this is probably a lot of heart talking, but I like our defense against Drake May, somewhat untested, young quarterback. He's going to have his chances. He's a great kid, great quarterback. Seems like he's got a huge, bright future ahead of him, but this is going to be a different test than he's faced so far.
I agree. Let's see. Our guest co-host Michael. He's for him the X factor is Sam Darnold. I get it. Talking about seeing ghosts again. I understand.
Always.
I think that's always going to be over Darnold's head. But Michael, I'm going to tell you, I think the ghosts are long gone. Because he's actually, when you look at Carolina, San Francisco. Then you have where they do San Francisco again, and then the Rams. He's been outstanding. And he went toe to toe with Matt Stafford. By the way, MVP right today, Matt Stafford, and didn't throw a pick, didn't fumble the ball, was in control the entire time, and did that with this oblique injury people keep whining about, and that doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. So I think the ghosts are behind him. Can he throw a pick? Yes, but I think he's under control. I actually think that part is going to be fine. Can we get enough push on our offensive line? The Pats have a stout defensive front as well. Can we get enough space and push. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I was reading Michael's comments there because he said that I'm right. And every time somebody says I'm right, because I don't get to hear that a lot, I like to cherish that moment. But no, if we can hold on to our real estate on the in the trenches, and we can establish our run game, I don't think there's going to be an issue of Sam Darnold having to put the team on his shoulders and chuck it down the field for 400 yards. Additionally, I don't think it's going to be that kind of a game. I will agree with you here. If there's going to be a high score, I would think Seattle has a better chance to have a high score than New England. But again, I'm just not sure that's going to play out. I know we only got a couple of minutes left here. So let's get to, you've already made your bold prediction. You say Seahawks are going to be a shutout, and it looks like you were going to say something else too. So I want to make sure we got time for that. But finish the thought you were going to say, and then let's you made your bold prediction. Let's hear the score, and then I'll give you mine.
Yeah, I would just, the team that was Sam Darnold's demons, right? The Los Angeles Rams, team that knocked him out of the playoffs last year. Game 1 against the Rams, he throws 4 picks. Game 2, he throws 2 picks. Game 3, 0. The guy is nails, and he takes his shot and he gets back up. That's one of the things that I'm really on just sort of a maybe a more esoteric level. How can you not root for a guy? And I mean, everybody's talking about this, so we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Yeah. But how do you not root for a guy, number 3 pick in the draft, gets cut, dropped by gets traded. Sorry, not cut. Gets traded. Jets give up on him early, which the Jets are just every kryptonite for any quarterback. But they give up on him. Here he is, journeyman quarterback, comes in a few years later, is playing in a Super Bowl. I mean, who's not rooting for that, honestly? But anyway, yeah. I'll let you get to your pick here.
What's your score prediction? How many points do you think the Seahawks are going to score to the Patriots? As you said, 0.
I'll go conservative. I'll say they'll score 30.
30.
So we'll put.
Well, okay, so they're average. All right. Yeah. All right. So you're predicting a 30-0 Super Bowl. I would enjoy that very much.
It's going to be. Do you remember? Okay, so the Super Bowl win against the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
The first half was all Seahawks. Everybody remembers, Peyton Manning getting flustered, throwing picks. Going into halftime, you felt fairly good, right? And then, third quarter, Percy Harvin takes one to the house. That's the game. And we're just sitting, watching, and enjoying ourselves. That's what I'm expecting.
Okay. Well, that can certainly happen. We've seen that happen with the Seahawks this year. So more than once. So that's a possibility. I think it's going to be closer. My instinct says 27-21 Seahawks. I think they're going to – I just think it's going to be tighter. But I do think the Seahawks will prevail. And for crying out loud, both stories are good stories. Mike Vrabel, coming back, leading the team, especially from the disaster, the dumpster fire that the New England Patriots were last season, 4 wins. Coming back now, and they're in the Super Bowl. I'm sure, Vrabel's got to be, running for Coach of the Year. I know that the usual suspects are there. I feel like Mike McDonald should get some love on that, but I don't know. We're Seattle. We got the executive though, so I'll take that. But
hear the final there? You didn't hear the final?
I didn't hear anything about that yet, man.
Vrabel won Coach of the Year.
Of course he did.
Mike McDonald, number 3.
What?
That's just disrespectful.
Especially since he defeated the other coaches, I'm sure.
Yeah, Liam Cohen was the number 2 guy for
okay, new flavors. All right, fine then. I'm late to the party on that one. I did not hear that today. But hey, congrats to Mike Vrabel. I get it. That's a big deal. But no, I just think, that's the Sam Darnold's redemption arc, especially ending in the Super Bowl, and with the kind of leader and teammate that he is. The Seahawks predicted to finish dead last. I wish I'd have put some money on them back then. My goodness, easiest money you'd ever make.
5 wins.
So, I think both stories are good. I'm just hoping that the Seahawks get theirs, because the Pats, you guys have 6. You've been in it for 20 years now, 20, almost 30, 25 years at least. 01, go back. Let's share the love. Give us just this. Come on, man. It's our turn, right? It's our turn. It's our time.
You gotta think too that most of the time when there is a kind of when you look at the betting and you look at some of the commentators and what people are talking about, there is a lot of juice for the Seahawks, to win. There's a lot of people picking the Seahawks. They're the betting favorites, all that stuff. Usually when you have that kind of situation, you want to root for the underdog because that the favorite is a team that nobody really likes, right? So it's like every time you're rooting against Tom Brady and the Patriots because they're just Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and you just can't stand them. But so you root for the underdog. In this situation, you tell me, how do you hate this Seahawks team? They are the underdog story of the NFC. They were picked to win 5 games and then come back and win 14 and win the West. Like that's not a bad story. It's almost like underdog v underdog here. So
it is, yeah. Michael reminds us this was the most unlikely matchup for the Super Bowl when the season started was Hawks versus Patriots because we were both supposed to be cellar dwellers, and we're going to find out which defense will win the championship this year. And it's not that the offenses are bad, and not that 30 points for a game for either team is bad, but clearly both teams' defenses were the strengths of each team this year and the strengths through the playoffs. So we can also put that question, at least for this season, to bet as well. All right, that's going to do it. I know, Justin, you've got to run. We will see who's right and who's dead when we're back. Cross Politic News. We are here on Fridays, normally at noon. This time we're a little bit later today, and we'll either be licking our wounds or celebrating a little bit, and we'll also get to some of the latest headlines of the day as well. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week. For Justin Chartrey, I'm Andrew Southwick, and hey, Michael, thanks for hanging out with us here on the program. And for those of you watching live or watching later on, have a great weekend. And I got to say it, right? Go Hawks, right?
Go Hawks.